All right, cool. So I'll just get started. I was supposed to give a slide, a little background on myself. Senior Director of Data Science and Engineering at Malwarebytes. I guess I'll start with a little bit of background on Malwarebytes before we get into like what we're actually going to do. So I got a little short video. Oh, no sound. Okay, so that's what we do. We defeat malware. This is our CEO, Marcin. Really, the background is that he believes that everyone has a right to a malware-free existence. We talk about the mission behind everything that we do around data, big data, is really to move forward and create the best disinfection and protection solutions to combat the world's most harmful threats. Okay. So onto the talk. Really, we're just talking about big data, and I got hired at Malwarebytes almost a year ago, and we talked about covering 4 areas: product analytics, customer analytics. We needed to build out a threat data lab, and there's something that was new to me, which is called threat marketing, right? Which is all around discovering and understanding the landscape of malware out there. I think almost everybody here knows about product and customer analytics, so we won't talk about that. We'll focus almost everything that we talk about today on the threat side, because I think that's actually what makes sense. The key to detection in the malware or the antivirus world is really that there's a huge amount of data that you can collect, right? We actually are pretty fortunate that we actually give away our software for free. There's a huge free user base, hundreds of millions. And so we have a mountain of data, and it's basically impossible for us to know what parts of the data are, or at least before we came, it was impossible for the company to know, the researchers to know what parts of the data were important and interesting to look at. And so what we did was we figured out that sort of the real-time happenings of the world, the real-time threats that are attacking the globe at this moment, it really helps us to focus our research effort in that very minute, hour, and day, right? That's where we need to spend our researchers' attention. And so there's basically five keys to threat detection that I had to learn, which is basically to be first. And so what that meant was that speed really did matter. In other landscapes, I'm a traditional data warehouse guy. We had things like KPIs, and we'd manage to exceptions. In this scenario, really speed does matter. And so we started thinking about, wow, should we do kind of a Lambda architecture? This sounds like a Lambda problem, right? We got all excited. If you take a look, my friend Jay over here, he did a big article on Lambda architecture and why it's garbage and whatnot. But the key to Lambda architecture, traditional Lambda architecture, is that there's some downfalls to it, right? You're actually implementing your code 2 times, once in the speed layer and once in the batch layer. And so we looked at that, we said, that's probably not what we want to do. We don't want to have everything in the speed layer and also everything in the batch layer. But we do need to have this speed give us some direction, give the researchers some direction on where they can focus their efforts. And so what we developed was kind of almost what we call internally like a Lambda 2 architecture. And what we did was we created a very thin real-time layer. We pushed a lot of the processing back into Kafka and Kafka streams. That was a sort of a common processing layer. And then we really built out the batch layer in a traditional way, sort of using big data technologies like Hadoop. And I'll let Manju talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, we do some serving like unification in order to make all of this work. All right, I'm the talking guy, so I'll kind of get out of the way, and I'll let these cool gentlemen dig a little deeper. So I'll introduce Manju, Senior Manager of Data Science and Engineering. He'll talk a little bit more about architecture.
Thank you, Darren. So my name is Manju. I'm a senior manager in data science and engineering group in Malwarebytes. Before joining Malwarebytes 8 months ago, I was working in a technology services company called Infosys, building data warehousing, business intelligence, big data, and data science solutions for Apple. So At Malwarebytes, we have multiple technologies to protect our customers from